Thanks for tuning in. You're watching ARIRANG News Break live from Seoul. I'm Han Daeun. Another day, another provocation. The UN Security Council has warned North Korea to expect a strong response after its several attempts to test-fire ballistic missiles on Thursday. The missile launch attempts came in defiance of the Council's repeated warnings and punishments. Unification Ministry correspondent Connie Kim for more.
The UN Security Council is holding an emergency meeting to discuss response measures to North Korea's latest ballistic missile launches. The Council is expected to adopt a statement condemning Pyongyang as Security Council resolutions ban North Korea from any kind of launch using ballistic missile technology. Members of the Council adopted a statement earlier this month when the North fired its first Musudan ballistic missile and a submarine-launched ballistic missile. The UN had warned of strong response measures if there was another provocation. North Korea attempted to launch 2 more Musudan missiles on Thursday, but failed as both crashed or blew up shortly after taking flight. The Musudan missile is viewed as a threat to the U.S. as it has a range of 3,000 to 4,000 kilometers, putting the U.S. territory of Guam within its reach. South Korean military sources say Pyongyang launched the missiles in an attempt to secure Kim Jong-un's power base ahead of the Workers' Party Congress next week, the first in 36 years. However, as the launch failures have revealed that the North's missile system has some serious flaws, experts say the regime could forge ahead with a 5th nuclear test before the Congress to make up for its failure. Connie Kim, ARIRANG News.
A senior U.S. official has hailed the strength of Washington's alliance with South Korea and Japan and stressed that Seoul needs no nuclear weapons of its own as the U.S. has, quote, their back with the nuclear umbrella. U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Tony Blinken's remark was seen as dismissing claims by Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump that U.S. allies should pay more for U.S. defense support or should defend themselves. Blinken said South Korea and Japan are contributing significantly to the support of American troops stationed in the respective countries. The official also noted that Washington and Seoul have begun formal consultations on the potential deployment of the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, or THAAD, missile defense system to South Korea to better deal with North Korea's nuclear and missile threats. Could the Korean economy finally be finding its feet after months in the doldrums? It's too early to say, but new data shows the country's overall industrial output rose for the second straight month in March. Hwang Jie reports.
Statistics Korea says Korea's industrial output rose 0.6% in March from the previous month. The output across all industries dropped in January this year but rebounded the next month. Despite a drop in production in the mining and manufacturing sector, the overall output rise last month came on the back of robust activity in the construction and service sectors. Output in the mining and manufacturing sector was down 2.2% from a month earlier, while construction output rose 7.3%. But it's not all good news, as the rise in the construction sector was mainly driven by state-run projects that swelled investment in social overhead capital as the government front-loaded its budget in the first quarter. Service sector output rose 0.8% in March from the previous month. Retail sales also went up 4.2% on strong car sales that were boosted by a resumed consumption tax cut on automobiles. Hwang Jie, ARIRANG News.
A 7.3 magnitude earthquake hit off the coast of the South Pacific island nation of Vanuatu early Friday. The island, located about 1,800 kilometers northeast of Australia, is part of the seismically active Ring of Fire. The U.S. Geological Survey said the quake struck offshore 95 kilometers southeast of the town of Santo at a depth of 10 kilometers shortly before 7 a.m. local time. There are no reports on casualties or damage yet. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center said there was no imminent Pacific-wide tsunami threat from the powerful quake, but it added that hazardous tsunami waves were possible within 300 kilometers of the epicenter along the Vanuatu coast. The United States says Russia has an urgent responsibility to put pressure on the Syrian government to stop attacking civilians and abide by a partial ceasefire. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry was speaking after an airstrike on a hospital in a rebel-held part of Aleppo, which killed doctors and children. The United Nations has described the situation as catastrophic. The attack on the hospital killed at least 27 people, while more than 30 died in other attacks launched by Assad's forces. The UN's envoy for Syria says the cessation of hostilities agreed between rebels and government forces in late February is now hanging by a thread. And that does it for now. Stick around for more news updates coming up at noon.